Hey there, it's One Boom, and welcome to an episode of Mindset. In this episode, we're going to be talking about facts or opinions. Enjoy the video. Now on Mindset, I can talk about you as a player, us as a community, Call of Duty as a video game, Battlefield as a video game, Halo as a spectacle. I can talk about whatever I want as long as it relates to something that goes on in our mind. For instance, we don't seem to know what the word opinion means, and we don't seem to know how to deal with facts. For instance, a lot of people don't trust doctors to give out vaccines, but yet they trust doctors when they say don't smoke. If you broke your leg and you went to the hospital and the doctors fixed it up for you, that'd be pretty great, right? But yet a lot of people, when they're sick, don't trust the doctor to give them a shot. It's interesting because the entire medical field is based off of facts, scientific facts, but yet tried and true methods seem to not really register with people unless they want to. It's very selective. It's like a selective paranoia. Oh, the doctor can fix my broken bone. The doctor knows what's healthy and what's not healthy. The doctor is really evil, though, and wants me to have vaccines. Personally, I don't think children should be vaccinated with everything in the book right off the bat when they're born. But at the same time, if a doctor looked at me and said, "You need a shot," I wouldn't be like, "Oh, what are you, a doctor?" Because yes, he is a doctor. He'd laugh at me. He'd fucking either kick me out of his office or stick me with a needle. But let's talk about video games. How about Star Wars Battlefront? You know, the game that looks amazing everywhere except for console. I love the way Battlefront looks. When I was playing Battlefront beta on my PC, man, that game looks and sounds like Star Wars. All it does is bring back nostalgia and make me happy and makes me feel like a 10-year-old again. And if Star Wars Battlefront was put in my face when I was 10, I would love it. But the thing is, now I've played a lot of different games. I've played Battlefront, I've played Medal of Honor, I've played all the Halo games, I have played a lot of Call of Duty, I have played so many free-to-play first-person shooters, and Battlefront, to me, looks like a $10 video game. So basically, I have argued with people about Battlefront and its lack of content, its lack of innovation, and people have gotten irritated, so that's just your opinion, and, basically written me off as just an opinion. Now, I don't think you should demean somebody else's idea just by putting the label of just your opinion on it, but it really is lacking content and innovation. See, an opinion can be a way that you personally deal with a fact, and the fact is that Battlefront lacks the content that was in Battlefront 2, lacks the content that was in DICE's other games such as Medal of Honor and Battlefield. You can objectively say that it's lacking content. And I don't mean to sound cynical, but in Battlefront you're really paying $60 for how long it took them to get the textures right and make the lighting look nice and the maps look pretty. That's what you're paying for when you buy Battlefront, not content and not replayability. The gunplay is archaic. The gunplay is very Counter-Strike, very Halo 2, very gross combat. I don't like it. It feels like I'm playing Halo 2 or Counter-Strike 1.6. You're just hip firing, or you're turning your screen into a scope and then you basically shoot out the middle of your face. To be honest, if Battlefront had the combat mechanics of Battlefield, I would love it way more, because in its current state, it's such a 90s shooter, and I don't like the way it feels. But the thing is it objectively is archaic. It is an old style. It's been used for years and years and years, and seeing all the dust brushed off of it with the Frostbite engine, making it, this old style of gameplay look really pretty, it's objective. That's a fact, that it's an old style of shooter. Now, this is where my opinion comes into play. I don't like that, so I don't touch it. It's not my opinion that the gunplay is really archaic. It's a fact that the gunplay is archaic. It's my opinion, and my opinion comes into play when I don't play the game because of it. For instance, zombies in Black Ops 3. Literally, if you nutshell zombies, you're being chased by the simplest AI programming in the history of AI programming, and then you shoot them, and you see how long you can survive. It is literally the simplest game mode on the planet. I know it's got an intricate story and there's Easter eggs, but the gameplay itself is so repetitive and it's so simple. It hurts my brain. I can't stand it. There's no meta to it. You know how to train the zombies and make them circle around, and then you just turn around and you shoot them, and yeah, duh, of course. But it's not my opinion that the game is simple and is using the simplest form of AI. It's a fact. But my opinion comes into play when I don't play a lot of zombies because it's very boring and very simple. So something can be the way that it is in a factual sense. For instance, zombies is very simple, Battlefront is lacking content in comparison to other shooters, and then it comes down to your opinion and your preference whether you want to play it or not. You can't pick and choose what facts are opinions and what opinions are facts. And hell, just because a lot of people have an opinion doesn't mean it is a fact. For instance, a lot of people think Call of Duty is dying when the sales numbers say otherwise, when the reviews say otherwise, when the player counts say otherwise. Yes, people have moved on from game to game and it's not the trendiest thing to play anymore, but it is not dying. And a lot of people think so. Does that make it a fact? Does that change the sales numbers? Does that change the player count? No, it doesn't. The thing is somebody will say Call of Duty's dying, and then they'll see a tweet saying Black Ops 3 is the largest entertainment release of 2015. And then they'll still say it. They'll still be like, well, COD is still dying. The opinion and the preference comes in when that person doesn't enjoy Call of Duty, or doesn't get to play it with his friends anymore, or doesn't have any fun with it anymore, and then he then believes that it is dying, because of his opinion and his preference has become fact in his own mind. A ton of people having one opinion does not create a fact. It creates a common consensus. I talked about this in my skill-based matchmaking video, where I talked about in Halo 3, everybody thought that host gave you extra health. Obviously, a video game isn't going to give you extra health. It's obviously just a netcode thing. It's just a connection thing, an internet thing, but people thought actually it made you take an extra shot to kill. Everybody playing Halo 3, or at least 85% of people playing Halo 3, did not make that a fact. Just because they thought that way, it was a common consensus, kind of like with skill-based matchmaking. Some people noticed honking outside my house as I'm recording. Sorry about that. But some people noticed they were coming against harder enemies, and some people never came across harder enemies. And some people did, some people didn't. And the common consensus is that skill-based matchmaking existed because apparently more than 50% of the Call of Duty community turned in on itself and decided that SBMM was back. But then Vandahar tweeted today saying, no, it has not been added. It prioritizes connection over skill every time and you're all wrong. A lot of people thinking it didn't make it fact, did it? It was a common consensus that was blown up by the head developer or the head designer or whatever the fuck Vandahar is. Is he designer, developer? God, that escapes my brain right now. But when he says it's not happening, it's not, no, there's no skill-based matchmaking. You're fucking delusional. Get over yourself. And then the entire community dies down, and then you still have like 20% of the community going, nope, it's there. It's still there. And these people's opinions were born from an experience and became a common consensus. This happens in political debates, this happens in school, this happens when history is dictated, this happens every day, all over the place. People take an opinion based on their experience and it becomes fact to them and that selection of people, and then it becomes a common consensus amongst that group, and as time goes on, the stubbornness grows and people cannot shake that made-up fact that came from an experience that happened long ago. So, to reiterate, Battlefront does not have a lot of content, and we were all disappointed. If you played Star Wars Battlefront 1 or 2, and then you went and played the new Battlefront, come on, you were let down by the lack of content. And maybe you were even let down by the fact that the gameplay feels like a 1990s shooter. Because it does feel like a 1990s shooter. Ask anybody who's played a shooter from 1999 to 2003. Anybody who's played a shooter in that time will tell you that the new Star Wars Battlefront feels that way because it's a fact. It's an actual solid fact. It's not the way I feel about the game. That's the way it handles. It handles exactly like Halo 2 and Counter-Strike 1.6, and that is a fact. And to reiterate, my opinion and my preference comes in when I decide that ruins the game for me. Also, zombies, very simple. Simple in design, simple in play, and when you play it, you're doing something very simple and very repetitive. Again, that is a solid fact. That is simple, it is simple and repetitive. But your opinion and your preference comes into play when you look at it and decide whether or not it ruins the game for you. You can like a game with less content. You can like an ugly game with bad graphics, you can like a simple game, you can like vaccines, you can hate getting your broken bones fixed. It doesn't change facts about what it is. Nobody can tell you what you like and what you dislike, but we can all agree when it comes to solid facts, a lot of people take their opinion over the head of facts. And hell, it might not even be most people. It could be a very vocal minority crying out every time something doesn't float their boat. But you need to watch for this in your everyday life, between your family, in your schools, during political debates, during anything. Watch out for common consensus. Watch out for people taking a fact, taking their opinion about the fact, and turning that opinion about the fact into their own different fact. And then it becomes a common consensus, and a common consensus can be correct or it can be wrong, but it's important to look at where it starts, where it comes from, and where it leads. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it didn't irritate you. I think Battlefront's a cool game. It just doesn't have enough content and doesn't have enough innovative gameplay to excite me. Zombies is very repetitive, but I can see why some people like it. It's kind of addicting. It's very arcadey. It's very cool, whatever. So you can like these things if you want to or not. I mostly base my opinion on something based on what it is and not how I feel about it. Of course, there are certain things that I base my feelings off of instead of my factual, knowledge about it. For instance, Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap is my favorite Legend of Zelda game of all time, although I know it's not the biggest, the longest, the prettiest, the most innovative, or even the most exciting. Didn't even have the best storyline, but I have personal connection to it. It was my first game that I bought, and I love it more than any other Legend of Zelda game out there. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like what I said, and yeah, I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye! If you have a fact that something is terrible, like let's say an iPhone in comparison to a Samsung is inferior, but when it comes to your opinion, and it comes to how you feel about it, as much as it pains me to say, that's the important part when you're buying something, investing in something, and how you feel about something. How it is, at times, is not as important as how you feel about it. Make sure you guys take your opinions and separate them from your emotions and separate them from common consensus, and you can actually look at the fact and build your opinion based on a solid foundation. If you stayed till the end of this video, I hope you enjoyed my little life lesson there, and I'll see you when I see you.